my name's Emma and I just wanted to talk a little bit today about domestic abuse. Domestic abuse is really a vast topic with a lot of different elements to it, and it would be impossible to cover and share all about that in this one video today. But there are some ways that I can share with you that we can begin to get a better understanding of what domestic abuse is and what we can do about it. So first of all, there are a few different main types of domestic abuse. Coercive control would be one main category. Physical and emotional abuse, sexual abuse, financial or economic abuse, harassment, stalking, online or digital abuse. And often people don't realise that all of these elements can make up domestic abuse and domestic violence. Something like financial or economic abuse, for example, you might not have heard of. But did you know that in situations and relationships where financial abuse is present, even things like going through the bank statement, intimidating a partner, and questioning different spends, restricting money, withholding money, a partner having to account for money would be a form of financial or economic abuse. Oftentimes people don't realise, or we're not actually really savvy with what domestic abuse and domestic violence looks like. Something like coercive control is a little bit more prevalent in the media, particularly at the moment. So we're learning the signs that would show that control and power that is used in coercive control. Things like a partner helping by suggesting that somebody doesn't wear one outfit but wears something else. Often with coercive control, it can be framed up as helping or caring or only looking out for your best interests. Now, to the victim in this, to the person who's on the receiving end of this coercive control, you can be left feeling ungrateful, unworthy, low self-esteem, ashamed that you feel intimidated by someone only looking out for your best interests. But that's what it comes down to, is that gut feeling. If you are frightened of your partner, wary of your partner, worried or anxious about what they might say, how they might behave, or how they make you feel, that is a red flag that something might be wrong. Most cases of domestic violence do not start with physical violence. They often start in very subtle ways that build up over time as the perpetrator wants to build in more control and more power over the person that they're trying to catch in this domestic abuse situation. It's all about power and control that starts in very, very subtle ways. So let's get into a little bit more thinking about what if we're worried, or what if there's something just happening here that thinks, oh, is that domestic abuse for me? Is that domestic abuse for my colleague, friend, family member? So there's a bunch of questions we can ask, not strictly just limited to this, but some really key questions. Does your partner check up on you or somebody you know? Do they call you, text you, want to know where you are? What time will you be back? This can all come under the guise of just looking after you, just caring about you, but does it make you feel uncomfortable? It's really important to look at the feeling behind it. Do you feel like you're letting them down if you're not back? Do you feel like you need to justify where you are, who you're with? Does this caring, checking up on you actually make you feel like something's wrong? You can't quite put your finger on it, but it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel caring and kind, even though you're being told, or might be being told, that it is. Does it make you feel edgy? Even if you can't make sense of it and figure it out, if you feel edgy, or sick or worried or just not right, that is a sign that something may be going on there. Another question: does your partner stop you from seeing friends and family, colleagues, going to the usual events and things at work? You know, it could look like, oh, but you know, I just want a night with me and you. Do you really have to go to your sister's baby shower? I was really hoping me and you could have some couples time. It might not be doors slamming, you're not going out, I'm locking you in. This is where the coercion comes in. It can be framed up as being subtle, caring, focusing on our relationship. But the intention behind that is keeping you in. It is restricting you. It is isolating you. It is cutting you off from all of your potential support networks. People that could potentially notice something's wrong, that could potentially help you. It's a very clever and divisive way of guilting you, oftentimes, into picking somebody else over your partner. And it can easily be framed up to look like a special night for us, please stay in, or I don't feel well, I could do with your support, something along those lines. If you notice that happening, that's another red flag. Does your partner unjustly accuse you of affairs or flirting? Do you find that you have to justify things? You know, and then again, it may come back to you that, well, it's only because I love you so much. It's only because I couldn't think of you with another man or woman. It's only because I couldn't bear to think. My jealousy, my noticing of these things and accusing you really just shows how much I love you. It doesn't, and it's not normal. If that's something that you feel attacked with, picked on with, something that keeps cropping up, that is definitely a sign that something might not be right. Does your partner humiliate, belittle, criticize you? Are they bullying you? That is another thing that can be a sign of domestic abuse. If you feel bullied, not right, it's another red flag to be looking out for. Does your partner threaten to take away your children? Threaten to kidnap your children so that you'll never see them again? Threaten to make it difficult to get custody? You'll never have joint access with me. If you leave me, I will make it a nightmare. I will tell people that you are an unfit mother or father. I will tell people that you've got mental health problems. I will take our child away and move to Florida and you'll never see them again. That is a huge red flag that might indicate domestic abuse. We touched on this before when we were talking about different kinds of domestic abuse. Does your partner withhold funds? Do they micromanage the finances? This is all pointing to financial and economic abuse. Things like you having to sit and go through bank statements. Things like justifying why the shopping normally comes to £100 a week, but on this particular week it came to 120. That angst and anxiety that is placed on you with finances can be another sign of domestic abuse. Are you allowed to make your own money? What happens to any money that you make? Where does it go? If you wanted something for yourself, you know, how easy would it be for you to get that just because you've earned the money and you want it? Is it possible for you to extend your education, to look for jobs and opportunities, to get out of the house? How difficult are these things? Ask yourself these questions. Now, where am I going with this? It's really important that we all educate ourselves in domestic abuse and what it looks like. And I said from the outset of this video, it would be really difficult to wrap it all up in a few moments. For your colleagues, for your family, for yourself, it's really worth getting online and typing in, what is domestic abuse? You know, what are the signs and how to recognise domestic abuse? And then what to do about it. Because we never know when it might happen to us or somebody we know that we might be able to help close by. If you are in a domestic abuse situation, it might be very, very difficult for you to get online. Your computer history might be looked at, your phone might be looked at. So how can you even get to learn more about domestic abuse? You can, if you get the opportunity to go to work, grab a colleague, ask for their phone, ask if you can use their internet, and just get that time to explore your options. Is there a public space that you can go to for a coffee or some time on your own where you can use maybe an internet or a computer there? But particularly, is there somebody who you can trust where you could use a device of theirs and you could explain what's going on, that you want to do some research, you need to keep it private, and you don't think your device is particularly safe? Would they mind? Get informed, get some phone numbers. Every area, nationally or regionally, will have support services available. Whether you are a man or a woman or whatever your circumstances are, Google your specifics, Google your area, find out what is available for you. Which brings me on to the next part. Whether you suspect somebody you know or work with is struggling with domestic violence, or whether you yourself are, it's really important to make a plan. You could help somebody make a plan, or you can enlist somebody else to help you make yours. Now, what do I mean by that? You could call it an emergency plan, an escape plan, a what-if plan, whatever words that you're kind of more comfortable with using. But this plan is about you getting away and getting help if and when you need to. Things to consider as part of your emergency plan. Have I got a week's worth of any medication? Have I got a passport number, a driving license number? Maybe you can't even take those documents, which would be ideal to get them and store them safely, but maybe that's not even safe. Maybe that would arouse far too much suspicion. Can you get the number? Can you get the identifying things that would make it easy for you to get replacements? Can you get a couple of days worth of clothes together? Can you potentially get a little bit of cash together? Can you figure out how you would get away? Have you, for example, got enough money in the house for a taxi if you needed it? Just that emergency kit bag that would do you for a couple of days. Can you give that to a friend? It may not be safe to hide that in the house or under the bed or in the loft. Can you give that to somebody else to keep for you? Can you arrange a code word with a friend or a colleague? Something that lets somebody know, this is it, you are struggling, you are leaving, the emergency escape plan is in operation, I need help. Find that person, find that word. Something like, we're all very social media, something like, if I change my profile picture on Facebook to a white horse or a red heart, I need help. Can you let someone know if you notice that? Have the conversation now. Because I think the worst thing when there is panic, when there is an emergency, when you need quite literally to run for your life, is to not know what to do. As distressing as it can be, giving it thought and planning now, it could literally save your life. Let someone know what the plan is. Get it ready in your head, get rid of that bag, let the friend know. If you live somewhere where the person who knows about your situation, if they pass your house, could you say something like, if this red vase is not in the living room window, that is a sign that something is wrong. If this blue vase is not in the bedroom window, I need help. I need you to call somebody. I need you to do something, whatever it is that you are going to need. Please do your research. Please engage with services if it's safe for you to do that. Ask to use a friend's phone or tablet to get the information that you need. Remembering that domestic abuse is not your fault. It's power, it's control, and it can look and feel very subtle. It can make you feel like there's something wrong with you. It can make you feel ashamed, embarrassed, ungrateful to even think that domestic abuse might be in your life. Domestic abuse is not something that we have to live with or tolerate. We can get help. We can support each other. And the message here is very clear, just to get educated on what domestic abuse looks like and feels like. There are many, many ways that we can help people with domestic abuse. By being a friendly, open ear, by asking someone, are you okay? If I suspect a friend or a colleague is struggling, are you okay? Be brave enough to have the information and the conversations that say, I've noticed your partner is always checking up on you. It's funny, I watched this documentary about coercive behaviour the other week. I might be totally wrong, but I'd never forgive myself if I didn't ask you. Please forgive me if I've overstepped somehow, but I have to ask you, are you okay? Do you need any help? So I hope that's given you some insight into what can be a very complex and destructive web of elements that go with domestic abuse and domestic violence. Get informed, read up on it, and seek support. Thanks for watching. Take care for now.